Welcome to KGXT, Gen X Talks podcast, live from Central California.
Making plans with the boys. I'm gonna hit the town. Yeah, I'm gonna make some noise. I'll push past the pain and my wounded pride. I'm gonna live it up. Yeah, stay out all night. But sure, I've had some better times. And I can't count all the tears I cried. And maybe down my last time. Yeah, but the blues took me just fine.
We stop now. That's the one thing about the holidays. It's the constant you running around the house singing those sounds, and then the mistletoe. You got to drag me into those things.
I love Christmas. It's magical, and I still believe at midnight that animals talk. Okay.
What are you talking about?
I was always told, my mom and my grandma told me at midnight on Christmas Eve, the animals get to talk. Don't ask me how long.
What
was
animals?
Never told that.
Was it like just camels walking around in your street in L.A.? What animals?
My dogs.
Your dog is up at midnight.
How do you know?
How many dogs did you have?
One.
Who's he talking to?
The other dog next door.
So all the dogs are outside at midnight. You know what? I'm not going down this road. That makes no sense at all. None.
I believe in the magic of Christmas.
Well, so do I. I'm just
You told
saying.
me bah humbug today, so you know what? Whatever.
I told everybody bah. I was having a rough morning. That's.
Well, you better get in the Christmas spirit, big boy.
Well, you can't force someone to have Christmas spirit.
Damn it.
You can't just say you will have fun. It's not. That's not how that works at all. Hey, we have a new sponsor for the program.
We do. Who is it?
It's your personal guru, Marcy Zavala.
And how is that intro going for the sponsorship?
So, no. I recorded one, so hold on, and I put a little music to it. So I'm going to play it for you right now, and then you tell me what you think. Ready?
All right.
Okay, go. How was that?
That was amazing.
Pretty good, huh?
You should have went into radio years ago.
I'm still working on because it was kind of an odd one. I recorded it on my phone, transferred it over here. I'm going to rewrite it and do it better, so it's a little grainy on that. But I like the verbiage. I liked how the words came out. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was great. You are selling it, Big Daddy.
I'm the guy. I'm the man.
You are.
Hey, I wanted to say all the bunnies are gone. All the bunnies are finally gone.
That's what I requested.
Well, we started with 2 bunnies.
No. I said they're all going.
No, we started out with 2 bunnies. Then it turned into 15.
No, we started out with 4.
Okay, and that's what you keep saying, but you and I, we had 1 each.
It first started at this house with 4. Our daughter, our granddaughter, and then you get 1, and then you said I had to have 1. So we ended up with 4.
Okay, but I didn't really want mine. I mean, it was...
You full of shit. Yes, you did.
Well, I liked him once I got him, or her. I like her once I got her. Frappuccino.
Yes.
But you were going to try to get rid of all the bunnies, and I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely, I'm done.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of mine. And mine can't be alone, so now you got to keep yours.
That's what you said. And then there was a cute bunny.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one I wanted. And then I didn't realize that we had a runt.
Okay, but hold on. Let's back up now. We had 2, then it went to 4, then it went to 15. Then you said, bring it to 0. I want them all gone. I said, no, I'm keeping mine. Then I said, mine's not going to be alone, so we'll keep yours.
Which are 2 females.
Yeah, you found a really cute one in this last litter, so you wanted to keep that one. And I'm like, well, you're not trading your bunny for that one.
Yeah.
So now we're up to 3. And then you found a runt of the litter who was barely hanging on. So we didn't get rid of him. That was 4. Now we're back
she
up
wouldn't
to 4.
take it either because it wasn't doing well. It's half the size of the babies and has a little eye problem going on.
Okay, so now we're back up to 4 bunnies. And then, now I listen, I know the term rabbit hole. I know the term because everybody says it when you're like, well, what were you doing last night? Oh, I was on YouTube.
Right.
I went down a rabbit hole of, anti-gravity, or I went down a rabbit hole of music. I get the term. I had no idea that cute little fuzzy bunnies could dig holes like that.
Yeah, you should see it. It's amazing. It's like a whole big apartment down below. It's a bunker.
The kid said, he goes, I stuck my arm as far, it doesn't go straight down.
It goes down sideways.
Yeah, and then it goes sideways. He goes, I stuck my arm back there as far as I could. I took a flashlight as far as I could see. He says, there's a room back there. So we got rid of all the bunnies. We come back with just our 2 plus the runt plus yours. And there's more bunnies in the enclosure.
Yeah, a couple. They just kept coming out. And I was like, so I'm wondering if maybe 2 of the rabbits had babies, litters. There's just way too many to be.
I don't know, but I didn't realize. But you and I literally came back home.
Yeah.
And, it's a pretty decent sized enclosure. I mean, you can walk around inside of it.
Yes.
You can open up a door and go in.
Bunny hutch.
A bunny hutch. Yeah, but we actually have a bunny hutch inside the enclosure.
Right.
So we come back after we've taken all the bunnies out and there's more bunnies. They had to have been down that rabbit hole.
There's only 1 extra. So we have the one I wanted to keep, the runt, and yours and mine. And then 1 more came out. It escaped.
So when you kept telling me more bunnies are coming out, you got those included in the ones we got rid of?
Yes. So we only have 1.
How many bunnies came out of that rabbit hole?
A lot. That's why I'm saying, I think 2 of the females had bunnies. Like they had a litter. But if you ever have a chance to walk out there, that bunny hole is getting more and more exposed. Yeah. I don't know what they're doing, but as you walk out there, you can literally see the size of the hole.
I can't close it off because I don't know if I'm killing a bunny inside.
No, do you know what I think? I think they're using it because the kid went out there and said he put his hand down there and there's lots of warmth coming out of there. So I think with the weather that we're having, they are literally going underground to keep warm.
Sure.
So I think I'm leaving it. They're not.
There's
it's
lots
not really,
of animals that do that. You don't even have to dig that deep to get away from temperature outside. Not at all.
Except that we've had rain. I don't know if any of that. I think.
Well, the kid went out there and checked. You know how I built the enclosure and I put a top on it of mesh.
Yes.
It's under the pine tree, so all of the pine needles have formed a roof. He goes, Dad, it's barely even wet in there.
Yeah, it's like a natural roof.
Yeah, he goes, seriously, Dad. He goes, I went out there, all the ground's muddy, all the ground's soaked, and inside the bunny enclosure, it's pretty dry.
Yeah,
he
it's
was
not
impressed.
too bad. It's not too bad. But anyways, so yeah, we have 1 extra bunny that we didn't want. But it's okay. It's kind of caramel color. It's caramel. It's
but
caramel
now you
and
gotta
cream.
figure, we're going to have 15 bunnies again if one of them's a male.
I know. We got 4 months.
Oh, my God. Well, 4 months is free. That's good. We'll get into spring. That's all right then.
4 months. And then we either find somebody that'll fix the bunnies because they can. But anyways.
If you want to get them fixed, you can. I don't mind. But I just don't want to. When we had 15, it was just way too many to keep track of. They kept getting out. It was just a mess. So I tried to please you with here's a bunny, and then you're out there pulling your hair back, wiping sweat off your brow, chasing them all over the yard. You didn't seem too happy with me at that moment.
No.
Yeah, I yelled out there, I did it for you, honey. Those are all your bunnies. I saw on the security camera one night when they all got out, they dug out.
Yes.
And if you play the security tape back really fast, they never left the front yard. But they got out the front yard and ran everywhere. They're zigzagging all over. It
Well, they didn't go very
looking.
far.
No, not at all. Anyway, so.
But if we would have left them out, they would have ate all your grass.
Yeah, they would have. But that's all right. They're just bunnies. What?
Staring at you.
Why are you looking at me? All of a sudden I look over and you got this look on your face like you're... What? Why are you studying me?
Well, is your neck fixed? That whole situation? You're moving it a little more.
I am. Yeah, the other day I felt like I slept on it wrong, but it kept happening day after day after day.
Yeah, we couldn't figure it out.
No, I couldn't figure out what it was because it just came on all of a sudden. I didn't do anything different. Then I realized I did. And what I had done was I couldn't get comfortable with the 37 pillows I have in the bed. So
Exactly. That's exactly how many pillows he has. 37.
Okay, it's more like
I have 1, maybe 2 at the most.
you have 2. I counted mine the other day because you bitched about it. I have 12.
You have 12 pillows?
12 pillows, yeah. I got 2 big body pillows that I lay down in a channel formation so that I can kind of roll over halfway on both of them so I'm not on my back, but I'm not on my side. And that's kind of cool.
I want you guys to visualize it.
Then I build a place for my head, like out of 4 or 5. And then I have, when I lay down on my side, I could have put up between my knees. I put one on top of me, and then that's it. That's how it goes.
How much room do you guys think I have on the bed after all that? I have like a quarter of the bed.
Well,
I have a king size bed. A quarter.
California king size bed.
A quarter. And I have 1 pillow, possibly another
and
one.
you and your dog get that quarter because he stays with you quite a
Yeah,
bit.
he eventually gets down because he's not buying that section.
Well,
I'm getting ready to move to the queen downstairs so I can have some room to
I'm
spread out.
just saying, so the story goes is that I couldn't get the pillow height right for my head, no
Right.
matter what combination. So I grabbed a blanket, and I figured I could roll up the blanket, use the blanket, roll it up a lot, roll it up a little. I can get exactly the thickness I want. And after 2 days of doing that, my head hurt so bad, my neck, my shoulders. So when I figured out that may be the deal, I went back to pillows. 2 days later, it was gone. I have no idea why. I was laying the same direction and everything.
Kink in your neck.
I don't know, whatever. So
Well, that can happen.
I got to tell you something about, speaking of your dog on the end of your bed.
My dog is wonderful. Our daughter-in-law says he is the most beautiful dog on the planet. She would take him.
He is a very handsome dog. I
and
think,
she's a cat woman,
yeah,
so
I will agree that everyone who has come across your dog Ranger can't believe how soft he is and how regal he looks. He just sits there, very pleasant looking, but he's an asshole.
he's got that look about him. You know those puppy dog eyes that people talk about? My dog's got him. He
But-
could get in trouble and just like look at you and go, but look how cute I am.
He does get in trouble and he does look at you and you stop yelling at him.
Because he's so damn cute. He cuddles.
So the other day, I'm sitting here right in this position in the studio, and for those people that can see the studio camera, you can tell where I'm sitting, and the door to the studio is to my right. There's one yawn. We got the over/under is 6 on you yawning today,
and I'm drinking coffee.
and you're drinking coffee. So the door is to my right. It's a big wide door,
Right.
And I can see all the way across the yard to the house and kind of the back door. So the other day, I got a sandwich here or something. I got something I'm eating, chips or something, and your dog comes around the corner way, way, way over there and drops down in like a cheetah hunting position. And I'm looking at him and I'm doing my thing here. I'm working and I look over and he's got his shoulder, he's down on the ground with his head sunk between his shoulders, kind of like a female lion getting ready to sprint. So I'm doing my stuff. I look over and he's about 10 feet closer, same position. Then he's about 10 feet closer, same position. I'm like, I finally said something. I go, what are you doing? I can see you. It's not like you're sneaking up on me. That's what he was doing. He was
You
like,
don't see him. According to him, you don't see him.
That's what he was looking like. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm frozen. I'm getting ready to pounce. And I kept looking at him saying, you better not fucking take my sandwich, because that's what so at the last second, I kind of glanced over and he was not even 6 feet away and he sprints at me.
Oh.
And like a cheetah going after something, and he gets to then he skids to a stop and sits down and wags his tail like, I snuck up on you. But I'm telling you, for half a second, I thought he was going to grab my sandwich and leave.
Wow.
So, but he was practicing. Your dog is practicing being a lion or something.
Well, he's an asshole, because I'll tell you another story is, so we're dog sitting our daughter's dog, who's been here before when
Yeah.
she lived here. So very comfortable. This dog is comfortable with our 4.
Right.
To make it 4. And so when we put him out in the morning, you know what he does? If
No.
he's last to the door, he shoulders his way all the way to the front of the line to get out the door.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he moves those dogs out like, no.
He bumps the other 3 out of the way.
Yes, to get to the front.
Like a fat woman at a sale at a grocery store, trying to get to the bananas and avocados or something. Yeah.
He stands right by the door waiting. No matter if he's last, he like moves to the front of the line like, bitches.
And then,
I'm here.
Do you know what else he does? He sits at the top of our stairs. He lays down at the landing at the top of the stairs.
I love that.
With his paws over the edge when there's a big crowd of people over here, like he's just watching his domain.
That's right. He's overseeing
Yeah.
all that all that he
Dog.
observes is his.
So speaking of your animals,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Penny Pig.
Are you going to get rid of her?
I'm getting very close. She's destroying the garden.
When you told me to go out there and see what first of all,
I think she's trying to outsmart you now because she's just about done.
I
with
think
you.
so too. I didn't realize pigs were so smart.
They're wicked smart.
But she went out there and she found a way. This is, last 6 months ago when we first got her. She was getting into the chicken enclosure and eating all the chicken eggs.
Lots of protein.
And we didn't catch her for like a month. We thought, why are the chickens not laying eggs anymore? She had 30 or 45 days of eating like 10 to 12 eggs a day.
Shells and all.
Shells and all.
So no evidence was showing. So I was under the assumption we were heading into fall and winter, the chickens were
Yeah.
stopping to produce. So
Right.
like they do. But
turns out it was. So then I said, all right. So the kid and I go out there, and there's 2 small chicken doors.
oh no, I called you. I went, what the heck happened?
I know. So let me finish. So there's these. So there, when we figured out what she was getting into, there's 2 small chicken doors that go into the chicken enclosure area, and it's pretty big.
Yeah.
And she was getting in through those doors. So what we did was we built 3 pieces of plywood around the outside, so blocking it off. Yeah, a wall. So the chickens can jump up on the wall.
We built a wall.
The chickens can jump up on the wall. They can jump down the other side and go in through the door.
Yeah, they figured that out easy.
Easy. But Penny can't get past it. So she ran screaming around for like 3 days. But then you called me the other day screaming because she had knocked and broken the thing
the
we
wall
had built.
down.
Yeah, and then got in there, and I guess the chicken door, the automatic chicken door was closed. She ripped the door apart and bent the metal door.
Yes.
She ripped the plywood off of the where we
She
mounted
barreled
the door.
right through it.
She-
Like a linebacker. She just went
She
barreling
crushed
through
it
it.
all. She crushed the whole thing.
Yeah,
So
it's
now
bad.
I went out there. Now I rebuilt it. I put rebar in the ground. I smacked some big old long pieces of rebar in the ground and fastened the wood wall to the rebar. Now let's see her try to move it.
Well, let's see, unless she goes somewhere else. But she is now, you raised my garden beds too. So you added another 12 inches.
Yes.
So what is it, a 24-inch garden bed?
It's raised, yeah.
And out of my office the other day, I noticed she got up 24 inches into the bed.
Okay, pigs are smart, but they can't jump. They don't have hops, do they?
No, I don't think so. But she crawled up there or something, belly and all. She like rolled in there or something. And maybe she, maybe she barrel rolled into it. I don't know.
What she does? You pour down some scratch, or you give the chickens something out of your kitchen. She prances over to where they're eating, even if she doesn't like the food they're eating. She prances right over to the middle of what they're doing, and she lays down sideways in the middle of their food.
Yep.
And just lays there like, no, I'm not hungry and I don't want to eat it, but you guys aren't going to have any fun. So now you got all 16 of your chickens staring at it going, could you move off of our food? And Penny just lays there.
Yes. The other thing is that I got a really small trash can full of scratch for the chickens. I literally smashed that lid down hard. Like it takes me a lot of effort. The last couple mornings, it's been open.
Now, is that the metal one I got you?
Yeah, the small metal one.
And she gets in the metal lid?
She is literally lifting. I mean, I have to use 2 hands to get it off.
Yeah.
But the last couple mornings, it's been off, and the chickens have been in it, and I'm sure she has.
That was so funny. I walked out there one morning when you're doing your morning thing with the chickens and stuff, and you have that one big bucket with the lid on it, but you got the scratch in it. And I'm walking out, and a chicken pokes its head out of the bucket, and I went, honey, there's a chicken in the bucket.
That's the scratch. As soon as Penny takes that lid off, they know. The chickens know, it's almost like, we'll handle that. And so they go, that's candy to them. That's not food for them. That's like a treat.
Was that Doodle that was in the...
Doodle always goes in it. Doodle is my favorite chicken ever. Doodle is my buddy. I could walk in there and she's the first to greet me.
She wants to fly up into your arms and be petted like a dog.
We walk around and talk. I pick her up. We walk around and we feed Penny and we just go around. If I lay a treat down, then she's got to go. She's like...
Well, I just thought it was funny. I didn't know there was a chicken in the bucket until her head popped up and she looked around like a prairie dog and then she put her head back down. I was like, there's a chicken in your bucket.
Yeah. Speaking, so Penny getting into the larger garden bed, and it's been raining, so she's nuzzling and going underneath. Oh, it's just
I don't mind her turning up the dirt, but here's the problem. I raised it up so she couldn't get in there.
I know.
And I bought a mesh netting to go over it to top that you could walk inside of.
No.
Yes, I did. I bought a big archways. And they're plastic rods, and you snap them all together, and you put 1, 2 all the way down. Then you pull a net over it where you can walk inside.
I didn't think they were that tall.
Oh, they're that tall, yeah. And guess what? There's no way that little plastic stuff's going to stand up to Penny.
Oh no, she's going to rip it down.
If she's tearing up wood and metal doors, that little plastic stuff I bought's not going to.
So no garden this spring.
You know what?
Unless we corral Penny into somewhere.
That's what the kid said. He goes, we got 2 choices. We either got to get rid of Penny, or we have to build her a separate pig pen area where she's just
maybe we could put her in the back corner. We can fence off the back corner because it's 2 cement walls in that angle thing, and then put put a fence up. That might work.
It might. I'm just saying that we got to figure out something because I want you to have your big, beautiful garden. You ain't having nothing with Penny around.
I can't.
So it's Christmas time. We had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and then you had all the kids over on the 16th.
We did an early Christmas this year for the very first time.
Yeah,
we
we've never
usually
done
hosted either Christmas Eve or Christmas morning breakfast. But this year we had kids coming, going, out of state.
So you did it a week early, and it worked out well.
It was a lot. You know what? For me, having it a week early, I'm just giving some information out to people. There was less stress. I didn't have to fight the grocery stores. I mean, as a mom preparing for everything, you had to have everything wrapped and everything a week prior. But I feel good about it. It went really well. All the kids had a great time.
But
there was no stress
Christmas.
But they didn't have to rush home for Christmas.
I know, but it wasn't Christmas. I'm just saying
but
this is the first time in all of our marriage that we haven't done Christmas on Christmas. That's the first time.
I know, but it's kind of nice because I'm kind of enjoying it a little bit. Like I'm going to enjoy.
I'll let you know after Christmas Day has come and gone. That's when I will pass my verdict.
And guess what? You'll get to enjoy your birthday because Christmas is kind of over. You get an actual birthday.
Okay, and what is that going to entail?
How do you know? It's not your birthday yet.
I know, but it's not like we're going to celebrate my birthday all day long.
Nobody celebrates their birthday all day long.
You're going to walk up and go, happy birthday. You're going to give me a kiss.
Here's your fucking present.
Here's your fucking present. And then nighttime's going to come and I'm going to go, it's time for bed. And you're going to go, so how was your birthday? I don't know, like any other Tuesday. It was.
When you get older, birthdays are shit. You know that.
I still want stuff.
Well, you know what? Your birthday isn't even here yet.
Oh my God.
People have been sending you wonderful little gifts.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's viewers of Gen X Talks that love me more than you. By far.
Oh my gosh, you keep ripping me apart and you haven't even seen the birthday present that I got you.
They love me.
You know what? Shut the fuck up.
Don't you ever disrespect me like that.
Oh, in a heartbeat, I will.
Raise up and lay hands on you.
I just did. You've been throwing me under the bus about your birthday for the last week and a half during the live streams too, and I'm like, he doesn't even know.
That was so funny. It was in the middle of a live stream. I was dogging you about my present. You ran out of your office.
I was so mad.
The yard. You ran across the yard, opened up the door. You flung open the door with the red light on.
Said you better knock that shit off.
I had the red light of don't open the door, and you come bursting in. You go, you better stop talking shit about me.
I had a bad habit. I can do it one time, but when you start doing it multiple times and throwing me under the bus, you're in deep shit.
Whatever type of cattle prod is needed to get you going, that's what I'm going to use.
All right. So anyways, our kids were here. Yeah. 5 of the 8 kids, plus spouses, plus boyfriends, plus 2 grandkids. Under the age of 6.
So here's the one thing that I was really focused on about that seems so funny is that
you got to observe. That was nice.
Our oldest son wanted to play basketball against our youngest son.
Oh my God, I loved that.
Now every year the oldest son comes in, kicks the shit out of him with video games, kicks the shit out of him with basketball.
Yeah.
Comes in flexing his muscles, and every year, tell me if this is a lie, every year our youngest son, Gen Z kid, comes in crying.
Yes, and just so you know, there's 12 years difference between our oldest and Gen Z kid.
And the oldest son doesn't give a shit. He pounces on him. He beats the shit out of him in whatever they're doing. It could be Monopoly, and all of a sudden when those 2 boys play, it's full contact Monopoly.
Yes,
Bring your helmet.
Yes, it is.
Except this year, Gen Z kid has been going to the gym for about 9 months now.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's been bulking up. So when our other son comes home, he walks to the door, he goes, whoa.
Yes.
He's like, and of course, Gen Z kid's like, he got that voice now. You want to play basketball with me?
No, I think the oldest son challenged him this time, didn't he?
I think the youngest one made mention of it, and then our oldest son was like, yeah, let me think about that. But then he did.
Yeah,
of course,
they went
he had
out.
A few beers and thought, I'm indestructible. I'm going to get out there. Now,
the liquid courage kicked in.
Yeah. You tell me how that kind of went, because you saw more of that than I did. I saw some on videotape.
Oh, yeah.
of you.
Our daughter-in-law went out there to videotape. She probably has more than I do. And then I was like, oh, I got to go out here and see. So in our cul-de-sac, we have had a basketball hoop that has been our oldest son's. It's been there for how long?
Oh, 15, 16 years.
Yeah, something like that. And it's out there. It's been out there. And the 2 of them are out there playing, and I'm like, this is going to get ugly. I'm thinking one of them is going to go to the emergency room. It got very physical, very fast. But it was so funny. And then our oldest son, after like 2 or 3 plays, is leaning over going, breathing. I can't catch my breath. Whoa, time out. Because Gen Z kid was running circles around him.
Well, the one thing I saw too is that, when the older brother and the younger brother is 2 feet shorter, he just backs him down. He dribbles the ball backwards, slowly backs him up till he's under the rim and puts it in. He just backs him down because you can't stop him. There's a size difference. Not this year.
Yeah.
He tried to back him down, and Gen Z kids like, don't check me. Don't check me. You ain't coming here. And he kept shutting him down long distance, kept shutting him down under the hoop. The one thing I thought was the funniest part that you showed me on video is our oldest son started to get mad. So he was taking the ball in 2 hands and pretending like he's going to throw it at his face.
Yeah.
Like, pretend throw, pretend throw, pretend throw. And the kid hits the ball out of his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Hits him in the face with the ball. He falls over like, oh, my face. And then he grabs the ball and scores. And he comes back and helps him up and goes, don't play with me like that.
I know. I told you. I thought we were going to be going to the emergency room. I really did. But the other thing is our oldest son was like, he goes, this is the same basketball hoop. And I said, we haven't moved it.
No.
We haven't changed it. We've changed the netting.
We've changed the net a few times, but we've had it, I think, so over 6. No, it's long. We had it at the other house, too.
Yes,
so 17,
we did.
18
and
years.
it's his. It's our oldest son's.
It was our oldest son. It was a Christmas present. But so at the end of all this, it was the kid walks in and he goes, so gymnasium son 1, dad bod 0, because he made fun
dad
of
bod 0.
his
Yes.
dad bod. But you're right about the basketball hoop. We've our neighborhood has 16 or 17 portable
all down the street
basketball hoop. Yeah, they're out. And every year, everybody replaces them because they fall over in the wind and they break the glass. We bought this massive one, and instead of filling it up with water, I filled it up with our oldest son with concrete.
Yes, he couldn't believe it.
He was like, what are you doing, Dad? You're supposed to... I'm cutting the thing brand new. I'm cutting the plastic. Dad, it's brand new. It's not what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But whose basketball hoop has never fallen over?
Ours. It barely moves. When they play...
Whose basketball hoop has never been stolen?
Ours. And when they play rough, it stays. It doesn't fall down. They can slam dunk on it. It stays. All the neighborhood kids come to our cul-de-sac to play.
Sure they do. Whenever there's a weekend, because ours is a cul-de-sac also, and it's at the end of the cul-de-sac, so neighborhood families come down and play because there's no traffic.
Right, exactly.
And it's a big backboard. It's one of the ones with the big, huge backboard.
Now that our kids are older too, the neighborhood kids come and knock on the door going, Can we play in your hoop? And I'm like, absolutely, go right ahead, because there's no way they can ruin that thing. Absolutely not. So
it was a good. I loved watching our oldest son now with his dad bod start to get the shit kicked out of him by the younger kid who's 18. He's like, you ain't got nothing. That was fun to watch that stuff.
That gave him firepower because our daughter-in-law has told him absolutely not getting a basketball hoop in his backyard. Yeah. And he has room. He's got a cement. And so he looked at her and he goes, now, do you see why I have to have a basketball hoop? So that gave him fuel to his fire.
I got to practice for next year.
Yeah, he's got to get it. So you got to tell him you did a funny trick. You told me I couldn't tell the kids. I couldn't give them any warning.
Was this the
envelopes that you did? Oh my gosh! Tell them what you did this year. You always have something going on. The kids kind of knew.
This one was new, but I was really I did. This started out doing this for you because our daughters, who the women are always in charge of. Let's get going. Let's get on time. Let's get packed. Let's get over to mom's house. And one of our daughters has not been on time in 5 years.
No, she runs on Indian time. That's what I call it.
Maybe 7 years.
We have 2 daughters that run on Indian time. One worse than the other.
Right. So we have 3 of our daughters coming home, plus our sons. Some of our sons are coming home. I called everybody a couple of days before. I said, Mom is having festivities at 2 p.m. What time will you be arriving? Well, I don't know. Now. Mom says 2 o'clock is when things begin. When will you be here? So I pinned everybody down. I said, just give me an answer, when you're going to arrive. I'm not telling you when to arrive.
Just let us know.
You pick the time, but be here at that time, please.
I had my whole evening planned. Right. So it's
and so one daughter says, Dad, I'll be there by 8:45 in the morning.
Oh, God.
I said, okay. So I took her name, I wrote it on an envelope, and I wrote 8:45.
Right.
Now, this particular daughter, she's not too far away, and I thought she's pretty eager to come over, although she can be late also.
She's one of the Indian time girls.
I thought, so I put a $100 bill in the envelope.
But it was Christmas, so.
I put a $100 bill in the envelope, and I thought, If they get here on time, I'll get that, because I really didn't do any Christmas shopping this year. So that would be my gift.
That was your incentive.
Right. So I didn't tell her.
Right.
I didn't tell her.
And you gave me a warning.
I said, you told you, don't you tell any of them. So then our other daughter's coming from up north about 2 hours. She said she would be here before 2 o'clock. So I wrote her name. She's almost always on time, but traffic. So I did put a $100 bill in there for her.
Okay.
And I did that for all the kids. But the big one was our daughter, who you guys all know, our millennial daughter, who's married to the Marine down in Camp Pendleton. She's always late. She's
perpetually late.
She's never been on time in 5 or 7 years.
Her sisters know she's late.
Yeah.
Everybody in the family knows she's late.
So I did the same thing. I pinned her down to what time, and she says, "Oh, I promise we'll be there by noon."
And she told her sisters, "I'm going to beat you."
Right.
This year.
Yeah, because they were coming in at 2.
And they both laughed.
Yeah. So I told her, she told me she picked the time noon. I put her name on the envelope, put the time on there. Now, I'm not telling you what I did until everybody gets here. Nobody knows about the envelopes.
Right.
It's now dinner time. Everyone's been around. We've been playing some games. We've been hanging out. We actually had dinner. We cleared the table, and everybody sat back down. We're going to play a few games. And I pulled out the envelopes. And I said to one daughter, "This is you said 8:45. You were here at 8:30. You have earned this envelope."
That's right.
And she opened it and had $100, and she was so thankful.
That's a lot of money to a
Sure.
20-year-old.
So the other daughter comes in. She goes, "I said, you said 2 o'clock." And she started screaming, "I was here. I was here before. Check the cameras. Check the security cameras out front." She did.
She knew you were up to something, just so you know. She
think
knows
so?
you. Oh, yeah. She knows you so well.
Well, she got here at 1:58. I said, "All right, you got here 2 minutes before your promised time. You get an envelope." She had $100.
Yeah.
Now, by this time, as we're going around the room, the one daughter from San Diego knows she was 3 hours late.
4.
Wasn't even close. And
4.
I held her envelope up, and I said, "Here's the time you said, and you didn't make it." And in front of her and everybody, I opened
And
it
her
up.
husband.
And her husband,
Oh.
yeah, the Marine. I held up the envelope. I showed the time. I opened it up. $500 cash.
You bet 500.
I bet $500 that she wasn't going to be here, and she did it. I didn't give her the money. Her husband was so pissed. Her husband was mad. Like, "You telling me if we'd have just got here on time, we could have had 500? Why don't you get to the? How come we're always?" I mean, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah, then the daughters were like, "How come you didn't tell us, Mom?" And I went, "I wasn't supposed to tell."
And do you know why they asked you? Why didn't you tell us? Because you always tell them that stuff.
And I didn't this year. Weren't you proud of me?
Yeah, it only took 30 years for you to get to go along with these things. But it was funny, and we can skip around with stuff, but at the end of her visit, she walks up and whispers, "Dad, you're going to give me the money, right?"
Oh,
I
she
said-
thought you'd slip some to you.
Well,
Yeah.
because she's part of the new society. The new culture in schools and in jobs is, okay, no, I'm really not going to punish you. I'm really not going to make you feel bad. No, of course you can, even though you didn't earn it, you can still have it. I said, "No fucking way are you getting this money. You never show up on time, ever. So I'm
No,
not giving
she's
you a
never.
damn dime." And she couldn't believe that I wasn't actually going to give her the money. I said, "You're out of your fucking mind. Don't you know who I am?" No. So she went away without that money. Oh. Her husband
Well,
was
one of
more
these
mad.
days she'll learn.
You know, I guarantee the next family event when I call everybody and go, "What time are you coming?" They're going to make sure they're here, envelope or not. They're going to make sure they're here on time.
Yeah,
So-
or the husbands are going to do it. Boyfriends, they're going to go, "Your dad does what?"
yeah, her husband's going to grab the phone and go, "We'll be there. We'll be there on
That's
time."
right. And he's going to go, "And I'm getting that envelope, not
No
her."
kidding. Yeah, he's going to drag her kicking and screaming. So
Oh, my gosh.
It was a fun time. The games were fun. It was really
Did you post any of the games on the members only?
I did take the security camera footage from the living room, you know.
Because I sent you all the videos. I thought you would do a montage
No,
of
I
it
haven't
because
done
it's
anything with them.
hilarious. Oh my God, we had so much fun. We had the kids on the floor
It was-
sucking marshmallows with a straw and putting it in a bowl. Then they were blindfolded and doing cotton balls like snowballs.
You really had some weird games, but I thought it was fun.
They all laughed.
Because you did it all as couples.
Yes.
You did it as husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. You made them compete against other couples.
Yes.
The hilarious part was when all of our daughters were chewing out their guys going, you're ruining this. You're screwing this up. How come my sister's boyfriend's doing better than you? How come my sister's husband is doing better than you? And it really became a thing of those girls trying to whip their guys into shape.
Yeah, I felt really bad because our one daughter's boyfriend did so well on the Suck It Up. I called it Suck It Up with the marshmallows. And he won. Like, he had to come from behind and he won. And I had all these envelopes with prizes. Randomly, you had to pick a number between 1 and 30.
Yes.
And he opens his envelope and he goes, $1? He goes, all that work and I have $1.
And then one of our sons won some stupid game that took
the reindeer toss.
That took no effort. It was so easy. It was so dumb. You let him pick a random prize. He got a $100 bill.
I know, and it was totally random, right? We did it together.
We did it together, but the boyfriend looked over like, do you know how hard it was to suck marshmallows with that straw to get 38 marshmallows in one? Do you know how hard I worked? This guy just tossed a plastic ring on a reindeer.
I know. It was such funny. And that was just funny. Everybody was laughing. I had lottery tickets for prizes.
But you do have video of that and pictures. I should put those together.
I thought you would. It's funny.
They really, but it was a great time having everybody over.
Everybody got along. You know, you always wonder when you get all the kids together and everybody's in a, different part of life and what's going on. You never know if you're going to have family drama or not. Literally everyone got along and laughed and walked away feeling so good that they had that quality time.
Because the older ones, the kids that normally fought with each other during holidays, they're older and they drink now and then they don't fight. They're all funny. They're funny alcoholics. So they drink and then they're all laughing. Then none of them get angry.
Yeah.
So that's what we messed up on. Is we should have been giving them alcohol at 15 years old. We would have had
that should have been in the manual, right?
It should have been in the manual for raising kids. If I'd have known then at 15 that they would stop fighting and we would have wonderful Christmas days, I'd have passed around the beers early.
Yeah. And then how did they end their night? Because we went to bed. We ended up going to bed, and then they, on their own.
Yeah. They got out the kid has a portable fire pit that he got from one of the viewers, a really nice one.
Yeah.
And our oldest son got it out, put it in the middle of the patio because there was too many dry leaves near the regular fire pit. And he gets a little thing of propane. He pulls around chairs. And there sit our kids and their spouses or boyfriends or girlfriends.
They chose to sit together.
They chose to sit together. They turned on some music. They had lit up the fire pit, and they sat around that thing till like 2 a.m.
That's what I heard. 2 a.m.
Just like grown-ups. And it was so nice to hear that they were getting along. So, ladies and gentlemen, if your family get-togethers are terrible, they're horrible, somebody always ends up in jail, or at least a few teeth missing, I want to let you know there is hope.
There is a hope.
Because we had some of the most difficult Christmases at times with these kids and relatives and aunts and uncles and people coming in. And this one was nice.
We went to bed smiling we did okay.
It was something, I'll tell you that.
It was really great. It turned
it out. It wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody will I could kind of piece together the whole story, but... And there's something I didn't know. Dr. McDreamy finally agreed to become my doctor. Wait.
What about the story regarding your mom? You had a very heartfelt story about... I want you to tell that first before you go into blood work and stuff. What was the story about your mom, the realization, that come to Jesus thing that you told me about regarding Christmas and stuff?
Okay. I'll try to encapsulate this where I don't drag it on. Start with my mother. My mother has a view of me that I'm just kind of an obnoxious, asshole, selfish person because of how I was when I was a teenager. And I was a very horrible teenager to my family.
She said you were difficult. You were very difficult.
So I've noticed that as I'm 55 years old, and she still views me that way. It doesn't matter even if you went to her and said, over the last 30 years, your son has become a wonderful young man, and he's a good father, and he's a hard worker. I don't miss a day at work. I mean, you could tell her all those things.
And I do.
And she would still look at me like, well, you just don't know him. Underneath what he's showing you, he's a terrible person. And then as my mother watches me, if I do one thing off color, one thing, I could be visiting her for a week. One thing. She goes, oh, see, I told you. Look right there. One thing, if it reminds her of when I was a teenager, She's vindicated. She's convinced. Oh, I told you so. I told you so. And you
He
can
hasn't
say,
changed.
Right.
Yeah.
You could say, no, he has changed. That's 99%, good person. 1%, he just made some comment. And you think, yes, that's the way he's been able to hide it from you. But that he exposed himself right there. And look, he's still an asshole. You could be 99% changed. And you do one thing that kind of reminds my mother, and I'm done. She's turns and walks away and puts her hands in the air and says, "Yep, that's you. Nothing's changed. You're the same shitty person you've always been." Mm-hmm. I hate that because there's no way for me to ever overcome that. I can tell by looking at my mother that she's not proud of me, that she doesn't care about who I am as a person. She knows that in her heart, she knows I'm a bad person, and it's always how it's going to be. So I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that's just my life. All right, I'm not that close with my mom. I used to have to, when my mom had this one big black fur coat, and it was really felt soft. And when I was a child, I used to run up and hug her, and I would say, "Oh, this coat feels so good." And really, I didn't care about it, but that was my way I could hug her. Oh. Because we didn't hug in my family at all. So I would use that time in winter when she'd put on the coat, I'd pretend that I was hugging the coat to feel it. And really that was during the winter, I could maybe get 4 or 5 hugs. That's it. Mm. So I resided myself, that's the relationship. But then when all of our kids were out here, let's take our oldest son, for example. He rubbed me the wrong way growing up because he was the oldest boy and I was a dad and we butted heads the whole time. I got a view of him in my head and in my heart, and I never let it go. And I remember this time I saw him behaving very well. And all of a sudden it clicked into me why he's spending days here. He's doing everything right. He's dumping the trash. He's helping with the dishes. He's not letting you lift a finger. He's taking care of everybody. He's the life of the party, making sure that everything goes smoothly.
Kind of took over the dad role when we weren't around.
He did. Yeah. It was great. And I'm watching this and I'm still thinking in my head, yeah, he's still an asshole. Why? Because I'm stuck. I became my mother. And I was stuck in that mode of viewing him the way I had him my whole life. And guess what? He did say something to one of the kids off color, and I did the same thing. I snapped out. And I said, "Oh, there he goes again. I knew it. I knew he was still an asshole. You almost had me fooled. He almost had me fooled." But he didn't. He really is a good man. He just said, something off color and went right back to being a good person. But because I was turning into my mother, I was like, "Oh, see, every now and then the true asshole person you are surfaces, you jerk.
You haven't changed.
And you haven't changed." And it's not true. It isn't true how my mom feels about me. And it's not true about how I was viewing our oldest son. So I got mad at myself. I mean, I really was angry because, we always say, and everyone listening probably can say the same thing. We always promise ourselves we're never going to turn out like our parents.
Yes.
Well, in some respects, there's some things I'm very glad I turned out like my parents because they were correct, but not this. And this bothers me a ton that I even have to fight that in my head. But I just so you know, I'm working on it. And we talked about this the other day in more detail. I don't want to bore everybody, but I don't think it's fair. Maybe this is something other people need to work on too. Maybe there's other parents out there or grandparents or aunts and uncles that feel the same way I do. Maybe we're judging kids and nieces and nephews unfairly. I was, and I might still be, and I'm trying not to. I'm trying so hard to, give my kids the benefit of the doubt that because they're young adults now, and maybe they're not acting that way. So there's your story. I don't know how much you can relate to that. But I'm really
proud of you that you stopped and realized it, because a lot of people don't. They just are tunnel vision, and that's how they're going to be, and they're always going to do that. And our kids need, I think in this day and age, our kids need that positivity, like, you know what? You're doing better than you were. You've become better than you were. You've grown, you've matured. I think they need to hear it from us parents, or even just older adults.
I don't want to turn into the husband that when everybody leaves, because there are husbands out there that when everybody leaves, the wife will turn and go, you're not looking at him correctly. You're not being fair. He's matured. He's changed. He's grown up, and you're just an old codger, an old screw up. You're set in your ways. You got your tunnel vision on. I don't want you to ever turn to me and accuse me of being that about our kids. Because there are dads out there who are not going to care. They're just going to go crack open another beer. I don't want to die one day and have my kids think that I didn't notice that they grew up.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
So that's a deal. So
Thank you.
Now can we get on to me dying?
Yes. But that was a conversation that we had afterwards. Yeah. So, yes, go ahead. Move on. What's our next subject of discussion?
Dr. McDreamy, remember you teased me about the relationship. Did you work out your relationship?
Did you work out your relationship? Are you guys good? Are you guys on talking terms now?
We're fine, okay?
Did you guys kiss and make up?
There's no kissing. There's no bromance.
Oh, you're not there yet.
Would you stop?
You're not you haven't had your first kiss yet. But you've defined the relationship.
I swear to God, I'm going to hurt you.
You defined the relationship now.
Yeah, you have boundaries? He's the doctor and I'm the patient.
Oh, okay. We have boundaries.
Okay, yeah, good. It's not role playing, but
so we're going forward with it.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, let me get back to what I was trying to say before you go off on one of your rants again.
I'm just making sure we're on line with the relationship.
All you're doing is trying to bamboozle me and buttle fuck me
with your bromance.
Okay, it's not a bromance.
I have texts to say otherwise.
So he sends me, agrees to be the doctor. We worked that shit out, and we talked on the phone, and who didn't call who. We put all that behind us, and
so you worked it out.
I'm gonna come over this desk and I'm gonna hurt you. So he says, I'm gonna send you a form for your blood work. I want you to go to a very specific place, and you got to be there. The email said, print this out and I'd like you to get there before 8:30. Preferably before 8:30. So we printed out. We started doing stuff in the morning. We got there a little bit before 10, and I texted him and said, hey, a picture. I said, hey, look, I'm in the exact spot you wanted, the exact company. He goes, well, I hope that was from earlier today because it's 10 o'clock.
Yes. You were very close to getting your blood drawn.
Oh, yeah. They were calling me next.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. Well, he goes, I told you 8:30. So I looked the email up.
Here comes the next argument.
It said, preferably, I'd like you to get your blood work done before 8:30. It's only 10 o'clock. He says, get up and leave. I said, okay. Now, first of all, you had me go to this weird company that's inside of a hospital. It's not like I just roll up to one of these mini
mall. Looks like
a
1970s doctor's office flashback.
It was fresh linoleum and everything. I could still smell the lead paint on the walls. So I said, do you realize that from where my truck is to get down into this building and down the hall, it's 3 football fields.
It's not.
It was 3 football fields.
That's how it felt, but it's not.
And I said, you want me to leave? He goes, yeah, and come back tomorrow before 8:30.
And I warned you about all the vials of blood that every box on that form was checked.
Every box on the form was checked. I go, this is going to be 3 gallons of blood, dude. So, when I told him, I said, hey, you know what, Dr. McDreamy, this is a lot of blood you got here. This is 3 gallons of blood. He goes, go look at a mirror. You can take some. You can afford it. You can get rid of 3 gallons. You're good. So
shots fired.
We leave. We go out there the next morning. I'm pissed off and wake up.
Gotta fast again.
We gotta fast again and get up and waddle my fat ass down the 300-yard hallway. I get there and I'm bantering.
Same girls there.
Same girls there. She goes, "Are you really doing it this time?" Yes, I wasn't scared yesterday. And here's the thing that bothers me. I've been, we've all got a blood work done. And Dr. McDreamy, he explained, he goes, this is important that your blood work is done before 8:30. And here's why. He wasn't wrong. And now that I know why they do that, how come no other doctor has ever told me to get accurate results so I can read your stuff? Please get your blood work done before 8:30.
I don't know. I don't think they care.
No. He goes, because the other doctors will say, well, it's close enough.
Yeah.
And McDreamy's like, no, you're not listening. He's very serious about this. I can't even imagine, why other doctors aren't taking the care to just say, please get it done before.
Yeah, I've never had a doctor, even when I had cancer, we never had that to be there before 8:30 ever to check.
And it does make a difference, and I had no idea.
Now I know why the vampires in the hospital came at 5 o'clock in the morning to take my blood.
They were doing it on time.
Yeah.
So I go into the back of this little room. My big fat ass can barely fit in there. The part I didn't tell you was, you sit in the chair and they fold the arm down. And I said, she goes, you don't have to sit in that chair if you don't want to. And I said, no, I can make it. She goes, well, if the arm doesn't fit, it's okay. And I said, no, I got this. And she goes, have you done this before? And I said, yeah, this is just like sucking in my stomach when I see a pretty girl. Watch. So I breathed out all my air, pulled my stomach in, and I slammed the lid down. And then I let it out. Pong. So I got half my belly over this table, half my belly under the table. And I'm looking at her with a confident grin, like, all right.
I'm here.
Who's your daddy? Let's go. And she tried both arms. No, couldn't find a vein. Just sticking me. I'm like, oh my God. She goes, does it hurt? I go, no, it's all right. It's just a little irritating because we've tried 12 times now.
Yeah.
You know what she did? I swear to God, this is true. She stuck it in the side of my arm. She was not in the crease.
Yeah.
It's like if you took the crease but went to the right, absolutely the side of my arm, and she got it first try.
Excellent.
And I was
Good
like,
job.
what do you, I said, no one, I've never, I'm 55. I've had blood drawn. I've never had anybody. She goes, well, you're not really supposed to. It's better if you do it this way, but yours was being difficult. And I was pretty sure I could get a vein right. And she did it first try. Didn't hurt. She took all, 387 vials of blood that Dr. McDreamy wanted. And we were on our way. Once I could walk 3 football fields back to the truck.
Without feigning.
And I did it. And I rewarded myself.
Yeah, then all of a sudden you're like, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. I said, I went and had a steak. So anyway, we, one of the things is going through, learned a lot of things going through cancer with you. Something I don't like to hear, something I wish I didn't know, was that when your blood work is drawn, and as they analyze the blood, if there is a problem,
red flags. Yeah, it's red flags.
They tell your doctor immediately. They have to inform the patient within 24 hours that you have cancer or you have a disease. And so by law, you have to, it's what they told me, by law, you have to inform someone in 24 hours. You can't wait. Mm-hmm. I really didn't think much of it. We got the blood drawn, and then the next day at noon, Dr. McDreamy calls me.
Yeah, that's never good.
And then he made you...
You told me that Dr. McDreamy wants to talk to you immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my heart sank.
Yeah, because we knew it wasn't going to be good. You don't call somebody to say, hey, you're doing great.
No.
And he said, he hung up the phone on me because he said, is your wife in the room? I said, yeah. He goes, make her leave the room and call me back. And he hung up. I'm like, okay.
I didn't like that.
So I told you, I said, look, he just called, and all of a sudden we realized it was within the first 24 hours. So we both knew there was something wrong. And then he told you to leave the room, and he wanted to talk to me. And I think in hindsight, it was just to not upset you.
Oh, well, he did upset me because I was in the kitchen pacing back and forth and not knowing what it is. You were there the day I was diagnosed. I didn't hide anything from you. No. We heard it the first time and what was going on. And I'm out of the room pacing. We did, for better or for worse, we're going to get through this. And it was excruciating to be out of the loop on that.
It was about 20 minutes, about 15 minutes.
It felt like forever.
So I did ask you to leave, and then I called him back. And let's be clear, I do not have cancer of any kind. I do not have a disease.
Terminal illness.
No, I'm not terminally. And so I'm asking him, well, what's all the secrecy about? He goes, because I need to get your attention. He goes, he didn't have something. He's like, well, you have, colon cancer and you're going to die. And he had nothing to say about that. So if I'm in a very serious health situation that you can't pin a name on it, you can't pin a timeline on it, how do you get someone's attention to let them know how serious this is? And I don't know that I'd have an answer. I don't even know if I could tell him what to say to me, and I know me. But he went through this stuff, and I'm going to mess this up a little bit. There was 3, many numbers came across this page. This is, first of all, he said, your blood work is trickling in. So I think it sounded like this is about 1/3 of my blood work. And there's more to come, which we don't know yet. But he said there was 3 numbers he showed me. He made me pull up the email with the results, and I looked at it. He goes, you see this, you see that. And he tried to explain it, but I'm not super bright on doctor stuff. But he said, there's 3 numbers in 3 of your categories They're so high. I've never seen, in all of my years in medicine, I've never seen them that high ever. Ever. He goes, they just off. I've never even seen a number that high. Didn't know it went that high. So that was one.
How'd that make you feel when he said that? Did you have a reaction at all?
I tried to play it off like a teenager. I tried to go, so I got high score.
Oh.
I got high score. Can I write my name? He didn't think that was funny. I was upset by it because I didn't know what that meant. And so he leads me down this path of all these things. And I said, well, then how come I'm not dead already? How come if all these things are off the chart, I've been going to doctors. They've been telling me stuff. He goes, yeah, but they've just been looking at the surface. And on the surface, it kind of looks okay.
The baseline.
Right. He said, this is the other thing he told me that is stuck in my head. The one was there's 3 categories of numbers that were off the charts. He'd never seen it before. That was one. The other one he said was, he says, for some reason, and there was I think 2 areas or maybe a third area. He goes, in these 2 areas, somehow your body has been fighting back so hard and so well, it has kept you on the right side of this. Barely. But it's doing it. He goes, you're still there. And I was like, okay, I caught on to that. He also said one of the medications that the doctor had prescribed me, he freaked out when you sent him a picture of the bottle. He goes, this is the highest dosage I've ever seen. This is the maximum you can ever give a person. And he told me it was one of the lowest numbers. He said on your thyroid medicine, he goes, yeah, it's a pretty low dose, a mild dose. That's what he told me all these years. Dr. McDreamy goes, fuck that. It's one of the highest ones you can ever give a human being.
And how would we know? We don't, you and I, as human beings, we are supposed to trust our doctors.
I have no idea. So, he's piecing together all these things. And I said, okay, so he goes, I'm changing all your medications right now. Stop. He told me what to stop taking. You went to the pharmacy, got the new prescriptions, and I started taking it. And
we're waiting on some, but it's the holidays. So
yeah, we're waiting on some. And plus, he hasn't got all my blood work back either. Right. He's waiting for all these things to come in, but he knows these things have to be started now.
Yeah.
The other one, he said, he kept telling me, he goes, now remember, we've known Dr. McDreamy since we were 5 years old. I've literally known him 50 years, same as you. So when he says, listen, I'm telling you right now, this is your last chance. You need to change what you're eating. You need to exercise. You need to change this medication, and we need to stay on this. That's as strongly as he can tell me, because what it kind of equates to, the situation, what it equates to is like, well, what if a doctor found someone with severe clogged arteries, high cholesterol, high blood pressure? They would say, you're going to have a heart attack and you're going to die. Well, when? Well, I don't know, tomorrow, 2 years from now, you wouldn't know what to say. Yeah. But you could say, you're right at the edge, but I can't tell you when. That's what he's telling me with this. He goes, dude, let's just straighten this out
you're
right now.
On the cliff right now.
Right
Looking
now.
down.
He goes, rip the Band-Aid off. He goes, I don't care anymore about what you're crying about, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to eat or drink, and what you don't want to eat or drink. He goes, you're going to go this way. So luckily, we'd already started, with Mrs. Forwatton and Loud One and a lot of people from the bottom of the Glass Nation.
You already knew that you were at the edge.
Yeah, but
you just had confirmation.
We'd already started dieting.
Right.
Because of this group in the bottom of the Glass Nation 2 or 3 weeks ago, we'd kind of already put ourselves in that mode.
And you weren't feeling good prior to this. You were at the worst feeling of your life right before this diagnosis or your blood work, if you want to say. So you knew there was something wrong. I
did. I was kind of I was not myself anymore. I kept telling you things like, I don't feel right.
Right.
Something was just not the way it was supposed to be.
Your body's screaming at you.
And it did change, when Loud One pushed real hard for the diet, Mrs. Four pushed for the diet, all the viewers and members came together and said, look, we got to have you do this, and we're trying to help you. So, and that push, when I started eating better for that, I started to feel like, okay, I'm feeling better. So obviously diet is a big part of this.
So tell them what he stopped you from completely. On that day, on that phone call, he said, no more sugar.
Yeah, he was like,
no more gluten-free.
I'm not a big sugar guy anyway. I can sit and eat zingers or something, but I don't have sugar every day. I don't go for dessert. I'm not a big, cookies and milk guy. I have been on once in a while, but I don't, when someone says cut out sugar, If you're talking about pastries, I mean, if I order Krispy Kreme, I'll have a couple of donuts, but I'm not craving sugar at all. So he said, cut out all the sugar. You said, cut out gluten. All I heard was...
he told me.
No bread.
That's gluten.
No pasta. It's like, all right, I don't care.
Staying away from processed foods as much as possible. I mean, we've done...
And so we're doing pretty well with that. We're moving down the right direction.
No more soda.
Well, this is where... Yeah, no more soda. This is where Marcy comes in. Marcy Zavala, who's changing your life.
And who's sponsoring this podcast. So if you want to talk to her, it's marcyzavala.com, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So we'll plug it.
And she comes in and kind of sidelines you and says, okay, here's a list. Change this stuff right. Because she's looking at the same reports that her husband is.
They work together.
She comes in and goes, okay, you need to do all these things right now. Change this with food. Change all these things that I'm eating. So you have the list. You had a complete list, not only from the doctor, but from a nutritionist. And she says, I'm looking at the stuff. This is what we have to give him more of, and this is what we have to steer away from. She knew right then. So I will tell you that even after 3 or 4 days of this now, I feel better. I mean, noticeably better. Like I could walk around the pool one time and my joints were killing me, and I'd hobble back into the studio and plop myself in my chair. I went 4 laps today, and I probably could have done 1 or 2 more.
Nice. What about the stairs? We have a 2-story house.
Yeah, so. the thing I noticed, this was kind of sad. I got so mad at you this morning. I come downstairs talking to you, and I'm talking loud because you're the only one home. The kid's still asleep, and I'm like, "Are you not going to respond?" And then I realized you'd gone to the mailbox or something, and I'm like, "God damn it!" But what I was telling you coming down the stairs was every morning. It doesn't matter how long I take in our bedroom getting dressed, going to the bathroom, brush your teeth, wash your face, comb your hair, do your stuff. If I do it really quick and head down the hallway, it hurts. It hurts to walk. If I take half an hour, 45 minutes, I'm not warming up because it still hurts. But when I go down the stairs, it's 1 stair, 2 stairs, 3 stairs, okay, 4 stairs, 5 stairs, going down. And this morning I didn't have one pain in my ankles, my knees, or my hips.
That's amazing.
And I didn't notice it until I got halfway down the stairs, and I'm like, wow, this fucking doesn't hurt.
So you didn't tell people, and I want them to understand, is that Dr. McDreamy went and said his body is full of inflammation, like a ton of inflammation. And that's what people need to realize is the food that we put in our body causes this. And as we get older, it can get worse. And so we're eliminating the inflammation in your body.
I didn't realize that inflammation was a big thing.
Yeah.
I thought inflammation was like, okay, well, my elbow hurts. It's inflamed. You rub some icy hot on it and you go down the road and you're good. But when that was one thing you sparked in my memory, when he pulled up my medical work, he goes, well, almost the first thing he said, well, I know why you're hurting all the time. I'm like, how can you tell that from a bunch of numbers? He goes, because you got to be inflamed with all these numbers. This has got to hurt like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it did. But I just thought I was old and fat, and that's just the way it was.
Well, that's why I'm trying to tell people that maybe some of our problem as we're getting older is inflammation. And so you need to look into that. It seems like when they figured mine out too, inflammation is huge.
I had no idea that was even a thing. I just thought it was a passing thing, but it's a lifestyle thing. It can affect you badly.
Yes.
So we go through all this. I talk to Dr. McDreamy. I bring you back in the room. You're crying. I'm trying to share with you what he said. We're trying to figure this out, and we both know there's still more blood work to come, so we still have more things to address. He never did give me a timeline, and I'm not saying he'd give me a timeline to die, but he could have very easily said, if you don't take the medication and you don't change what you're eating, if you don't exercise, you'll be dead in 2 years. Mm-hmm. He could have said something like that. He never did. He just said, I'm not giving you a motivational timeline. This is actually the conversation he had the next day. He goes, if what I told you yesterday wasn't enough to get you motivated, nothing's going to. And I've been doing it. I've been following everything he said. I've been eating what Marcy said.
Yeah.
Every night I email him, which is stupid. He didn't even ask me to email him. Every night.
Here we go.
Out of courtesy, I say,
here's a bump in their relationship.
Because it's total bullshit. He didn't say, please email me every night with what you've done.
I can be mad too, because you're throwing me under the bus to give him what I'm cooking.
I'm not trying to, but I sent him an email and I said, "Hey, man, it was like 3 sentences. I don't bother the guy.
Yeah.
I'm not writing 4 paragraphs. It just said, hey, I had a sausage and eggs for breakfast. I had whatever it was for lunch, and then I had this for dinner, and I drank 4 things of water. And on the first one I wrote 2 sodas. He writes back, no sodas.
Just 2 words.
No, that's what he wrote back. It was like, okay, so there's no diagnosis here, doc. There's no conversation. It was no sodas. Now that bothered me. There's 2 yawns.
Hey, that's pretty good, though.
Pretty good. And the next day I write him another email. And I had 1 zinger. 1. He writes back, come on, man. What the fuck, man? Come on. I said,
he
did
not cuss at you.
He did not cuss. It was 1 zinger. But he acted like I just bombed Pearl Harbor. So I'm like, okay. Now I'm not going to lie to him. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell him.
He doesn't want you to lie to him.
So the next day,
that ruins a relationship when you lie to each other.
It's not a relationship like that. So the next day I wrote him an email and just said, hey, everything I ate was within the parameters of what you want. Everything's fine. He writes back, yeah, define the parameters. What'd you have?
Oh.
I'm like, so I wrote him what I had. He's like, yeah, no more beans. I'm like, no more beans? What? Why no beans? He's like, no beans. That's it. He just picks the thing apart. His bedside manner is Nurse Ratched. He doesn't
have to have that.
He doesn't sit there and go, now, listen, I know you like beans. Maybe we could find something to substitute, or maybe you could have a spoonful of beans. No. No conversation. He just goes, no sodas, no beans. And that's it. That's all he writes back.
You are the man of no rabbit food. You do not like vegetables. You are very, very picky on your vegetables.
The kid caught me the other day. He came and do a film in one of his short videos. I wouldn't let him post it. He came while I was eating, and he's like, what are you doing? I said, oh, you're going to make fun of me because I'm eating my stuff. He noticed that you had this big thing of rice with the vegetables, and I hid the vegetables under the rice. I said, Mom's probably going to catch this. And so, but you didn't, because you didn't say a word.
How old are you?
What do you mean, how old am I?
How old are you?
I'm 55.
Yeah, acting like a little 6-year-old hiding your vegetables.
I didn't really want the vegetables last night. So
I don't care. You're going to be eating your vegetables.
I ate all the beans.
Well, you can't have beans anymore.
Yeah,
You're going to have
that.
vegetables.
So the path that we're on, the things that we're doing are making changes. I do feel
already.
better.
That's the crazy thing, is just after a couple days.
It's unbelievable the changes, and so how much more energy I have, and
that should give you motivation right there. Just after a couple days. Oh, and no milk. That was the other thing. No milk.
I didn't care about it. I don't drink much.
Yeah.
I mean, the most I ever have lately is if I'm craving milk, I just get a swallow. I just gulp one, and that's it. I don't even drink a glass. And what does he tell me? No gulps. He wrote that back. I go, dude, and I went from a gallon of milk a day down to 1 glass a day. Now I'm telling you, I just had like a swig, 2 swigs. He goes, yeah, don't do that.
You know what else I've noticed?
What?
Is the change in your food and what you're eating is you're not snacking. Have you noticed?
Well,
you're going from meal to meal.
That has nothing to do with the food.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. I'm telling you what, don't tell me how to live my life. I am the utmost authority on me. The reason I'm not snacking has nothing to do with the food, because I still want to snack. The reason I'm not is because I don't know what I'm allowed to eat. So I don't go in and ask. I don't bother you. I just sit here.
Good. Then I'm going to leave you in that status right there, that you don't know what you need, and then you will eat.
I don't know what I'm allowed to have, so I don't go rummaging through the pantry. I just sit here and go, well, she'll feed me when it's time.
You don't need snacking.
I'm now like one of your animals.
You don't need to snack.
You make your rounds for the bunnies, the chicken, the pig, the dogs.
If you need a snack, then you're not having enough at your breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I'm fine. I just, but the times that I do get hungry, you know what I've been doing? If I feel like I want a snack or something, I just drink more water.
Oh.
Until the next meal comes around. Which, by the way, this is fucking sucky-ass water. This is salt water. You just turned me on to this today, and Marcy Zavala, oh, you got to have it. You got to do it. And Dr. McDreamy, oh, yeah, you got to have one of those a day. One of them a day. This fucking thing's 32 ounces of yucky salt water with a hint of orange. And it sucks.
You know what? You've had worse in your mouth.
Okay, that's not fair. And I can't believe you just said that. I don't like the taste of salt. I don't like the taste.
Yeah,
of...
well, girls don't like the taste of salt either.
Well, so what? So you drink this stuff every day. How do you tolerate it? Look, I just grabbed this thing. How do you tolerate drinking the salt water out of this? It's gross.
It's all in a technique.
There's a technique to not taste the salt.
Yes.
Which is?
Salty on your tongue is in the front. If you can get past it and get it into the
back part of my mouth,
part of your throat, you won't taste it.
I almost want to ask you where you learned this technique.
No need. Just
Okay.
go for it, Big Daddy.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Are you going to tell people
Put the straw to the back of my mouth?
Yeah.
Hold on. I got a little bit in here.
Okay. Put it way in the back. Come on, Big Daddy.
I'm gonna
That's
gag.
what every girl does.
I find
There's
myself
always a first time.
I find myself having to force myself to do this.
There's always a first time. Yep. That's what girls say. Just force yourself to do it.
Oh, it's still gross, but surprisingly, I don't taste as much of the salt. Wow.
So
Right.
what he is drinking is what's called Element, LMNT. It's a packet. It has the sodium, magnesium, and one other thing in it. And I've been drinking it since I went on this new life change with Marcy Zavala. And you just take one packet a day at least and put it in your water and you sip it all day long. And it helps you to hydrate. Because I think that's part of your problem too, is that you're
It
dehydrated.
could be, but this is gross. It's
It
really
is,
not good.
but it's not for you to guzzle. It's just for you to sip
I did,
throughout
though.
the day.
When you said that I had to do this and I thought it was so gross, this morning I'm like, okay, I had because you gave me a full thing of this garbage and you gave me a full thing of water. It's garbage and it tastes like garbage. I drank it as quickly as I could to get it over with, and then I just started drinking my water the rest of the day, and I was fine.
All right. Well, next time, just sip it in between your water. Just sip it. And
Don't tell me what to do with my medication. You're not a medical doctor. You don't even play one on TV.
Oh, no, I don't claim to be.
No.
There's more people smarter than I am.
Are we done, or are you going to do another? You're going to tell me you're going to tell me to tell a car story. And I remember one we were driving the other day.
Oh, yes.
What was it you
I
asked me?
you because we have the auto thing on our truck or whatever. It's
That
an
is so
auto
fucking dumb.
stop.
Auto start.
Is that-
Auto stop. Yeah. In our truck,
Tell them what it is. Yeah,
you
first.
pull up to a stop sign and your engine shuts off.
Yeah,
And when you let
I
off the
don't-
brake, the engine starts again.
It's kind of scary because you think your car is stalled.
The stupid part is this fucking dumbass General Motors design. As a mechanic, I will tell you the hardest part on an engine is starting.
So why they do it?
Well, I'm sure they're saying it saves on gas and it saves on emissions. It's healthier for the planet. You're not running your car idle while you're sitting at a stoplight. Sometimes stoplights take a long time to change. I'm sure that's what they're billing it as.
Okay.
But there's no fucking way you can convince me that this isn't just tearing up your engine when you go around town starting your engine
Multiple times.
75 times as you drive.
Yeah.
So that's bullshit. We were talking about that and the light that comes on, but I remembered.
And I said to you, I go, is there a way that you can shut that thing off? Is what
I'm
I
sure.
said.
I guarantee if you're logged into General Motors, like if I paid for the software, I could get my laptop to go on and do that stuff. I don't do that anymore, and you have to pay by the year. It's probably like $5,000 a year now. So when I had a shop, it was worth it because you had to do stuff. Right now, if you take it to the dealership and they hook up to it, I'm sure they can get right in there and turn that feature off.
But back in the day, you would have had to rip the dashboard out.
Well, back in the day, you'd had to done something different because wherever the control wire was from the computer to turn the starter on, you'd have had to
Okay.
cut it out.
So I said to you, I go, the next time you go to the dealership for our oil change, are
Fucking
you
A.
going to
Yes,
have them?
absolutely. I'm going to run in there with a box of donuts and go, please take this shit out. Absolutely. I hate that.
So then
there's
that spawned
there's
a story.
on the dash that we can turn it off. I don't want people to
Yeah.
think I'm driving around like that. There is an on-off, but every time you start the car, you have to remember to shut it off.
Yeah.
It's just annoying as fuck. It's
But
just
then that sparked a memory for you
Well,
about
yeah,
a
you and I were
certain
talking
button.
about what lights you can turn off and what you can't.
Or I asked you, have you ever done that before? Has anybody ever come into the dealership years ago and asked you to turn off a button?
Yeah, we talked a bunch about different things where they've asked me to do stuff to permanently disable
yeah.
something that the computer, and there used to be ways to do that you can get around things.
And it was simple back in the day,
But
right?
The thing that we talked about was something so dumb, and I don't know how many people are going to remember this. in the 80s and early 90s, maybe even the mid 90s, there was a light that would come on called an emissions light. It was either an O2 sensor, or it said emissions, or it said EGR. It was an amber light.
Was this on all cars?
On every car.
Okay.
Every car that I'd ever seen. Every year, make, and model. And it was a mileage light. People didn't know that. They thought they had to take their car into the dealership and have it checked, because it would come on at mileage. Your mileage would hit 40,000, the light would come on. You'd have to go to the dealership and pay them $80 or $100 to go in and reset the light. Now, we didn't have computers on cars to do that back then. You physically had to crawl around and disconnect a wire, or pull a fuse, or connect a wire. And that's the way it was. On Subarus, there was 3 wires hanging, and out of those 3 wires, there was a combination of plug wire 1 into wire 2. Then at 40,000 more miles, the light would come on again. Plug wire 1 into number 3, and then at 40,000, it would come in again. So the over and over and over, this was the thing. Every car manufacturer was different. Everybody made their emissions light different, but it was just a way to get the car in the dealership. Nothing was wrong.
So they can find other things wrong with it.
Absolutely. So
an upsell, huh? There was the upsell
That's-
sign. That's what the thing should have said. Oh, it's an upsell light.
They should have just come on the dash and said,
With
"Here's
a dollar sign."
Your upsell light just came on. You can call the dealership. I need to make an appointment to bring my truck in. My upsell light came on."
My dollar sign is showing.
So there was an argument between a service manager and a guy in the service drive, and he was like, "Just turn the fucking light off, and it's bullshit." And my service manager, of course, wouldn't do it.
So he caught on that there was something.
This guy caught on something was wrong.
Yeah.
And I want to say, if I had to remember, I think it was an Isuzu pickup.
Okay.
Pretty new Isuzu pickup. Anyway, so it was after 5 o'clock. Everyone's, just a little bit after 5. Everyone's kind of shuffling around, getting out of there. And the guy catches me in the driveway. The customer does, and says, "Hey, do you work here? Are you a mechanic?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Can you turn my light off?" And I said, "Well, why don't you just pay?" He goes, "I'm not paying $80 to your service department." And I said, "Well, it's after hours." And he goes, "Do you know how to do it?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Do you have to have any equipment to do it?" I said, "No." He goes, "I'll give you a $100 bill to do it right here in the driveway."
$20. He's going to pay $20 more for you to just do it off hours.
Just to middle finger the service manager. Just to middle finger the service manager. Who it was right outside his window. He could see me doing it.
Yeah, but wouldn't that cost you your job? No,
not with this service manager. Plus, you remember, at that time, I was the hot shot.
Okay.
You couldn't afford to get rid of me. They couldn't fire me. I was too valuable. Now, they'd fucking fire me for being fat. They wouldn't need me around at all. But back then, I was somebody.
Okay.
So I opened the door to the guy, guarded door, truck door, and I turned the key to the on position. And in this particular car, way up under the dash, I mean, you almost reach the top of the dash going underneath it. There's a little clear plastic box with a switch. And you flip the switch to one side, you cycle the key, you start the engine, lights off. In 40,000 miles, he gonna need that switch flipped again.
Did you tell him that?
Yeah, I said, you gotta feel up there for it, and you're done, just do this. He goes, all right, $100 bill, and down the road he went. But there was a lot of that. They used to have a booklet you could buy, like at Napa Auto Parts, that came out every year and said, here's little drawings and pictures of how to do all the cars, because you couldn't know all of them. There's too many year makes and models out there. You couldn't follow all of them, so they made a booklet you could do that too. But that was my dealership. So now, I got a story that has a really funny twist to it. We talked about this the other day.
Yes.
You came down to the shop right as there was a guy in there, a man. He's probably in his mid-50s, wouldn't you say?
I don't know what story you're going with.
The Rolls Royce, the Michael Jackson.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I remember the man that came.
The guy was a black guy, very pleasant, had all gold teeth.
Yes.
And he tows this car in. He goes, "Hey," he goes, "I heard you can fix any drivability problem in town." And I said, "I give it a shot. What do you got?" So
that was the first time we ever had a Rolls Royce in our.
This Rolls Royce comes in to sit there. And I was like, "Holy shit!" He goes, "It won't go over like 25 miles an hour." And I said, "No." He goes, "No, the check engine light's on, and it can only go 25 miles an hour." And I said, all right. So we filled out the paperwork. And he's telling the story, because this is right about when you got there. You came in at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I was like there's a Rolls Royce in the driveway right now.
Yeah, and the guy says, "Well, I got it from Michael Jackson's estate sale."
I know, I couldn't believe it.
And he said, "I paid $300,000 for it or something."
This was after he died, yeah.
After he died. And he says, "Oh, there's all this stuff in the trunk. There was all this merchandise, like Michael Jackson would give away things or sign things. He goes, it was all still in there. So the boring part of this story is that when I scanned it, it said the hood latch sensor was bad. In other words, the computer thought the hood was open. Mm-hmm. So the computer was shutting down the car and wouldn't let it go over 25 miles an hour because it knew the hood was not latched correctly.
Didn't want it opening up or any of that.
Yeah, you don't want to go down the road at 70 and have the hood flail back and, smash the windshield. So I finally figured out, because the wiring schematic was really hard to come by, but I figured out where the sensor was. It was a really dumb sensor too, like wire in, wire out. So I remember I jumpered it with like a paper clip. And
you MacGyvered it.
Yeah, just to test it. And then the car drove 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. So I called the dealership down in I think it was Redondo Beach. And they said, well, what's your VIN on the car? And I thought he was going to help me. He tells me, you can't work on it. We won't sell you the part. I was like, why not? He goes, we'll come get it. It's still under warranty. And the car's years old. It's not like it's brand new. But it's
Michael Jackson's Rolls Royce. I'm sure he paid a fortune for it. Yeah. So I'm sure yeah.
They ended up sending a tow truck, an enclosed trailer.
Yeah, I remember
all the
that.
way up to where we lived. They picked it up. They took it back. They paid for it for the guy with everything. I told the customer, of course, what was going on.
You could only go so far.
Yeah, I said, I've gone as far as I can. They won't sell me the part, but they'll do it for you for free, and they're going to come get it. And he said, oh, okay, that's good. He still came down and gave me $100, just for doing that. But the highlight of my adventure on this was when you were inside this car.
I got to sit in it. I sat in Michael Jackson's Rolls Royce.
I knew you were going in the car to sit down.
Yeah,
it was all gorgeous. That tan real leather.
It was, and it had wood paneling. I mean, that thing was top of the line Rolls
Chrysler
Royce.
Wood paneling.
No.
This isn't Chrysler leather.
Soft leather. Oh my God, it was beautiful inside.
So I go in there after you've been in there for about 10 minutes, and I open the door, and what did I see?
Nothing.
What did I see?
Nothing.
Yeah. How many clothes were you wearing?
Not much.
None.
I wanted to feel this leather.
You were sitting there laying down on the leather. You rolled over on your stomach, and you were running your hands across it.
Wasn't exactly totally naked.
You had... What are you talking about? You had no bra on. You might have had a G-string, maybe, but you had no bra on. All your socks, your pants, your shoes, and your shirt and the bra were sitting on the floor, and you were doing the breaststroke on the leather.
It's kind of like when if you had $1 million and you wanted to roll around it naked. I had an opportunity here to be in, a Rolls Royce that leather. I will never, ever in my life afford, drive in.
No, that was it.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't upset. I wasn't mad, but I was like, what are you doing? You didn't tell me you were going to go do that.
Well,
it must have just clicked on you when you said
it did. I was like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. I got to do this. So
I'm not sure whether that constitutes as a car story or not, but it's definitely a story.
It's a very cool story between us that it was, and we were so shocked when he said it was Michael Jackson's because it was like, what?
Well, there was something too, and I can't remember what it was. It was either the glove box, the knob or the button on the glove box, or the steering wheel. It is monogrammed for Michael Jackson.
Wasn't it on the hubcap? Wasn't it on the wheel?
There was a
lock on the wheel or something. There was something
he showed us. He goes like here, and here.
It was
this
MJ.
Is custom. This is his. You know, and I believe him.
I think it was on the wheel. You had looked or something. But a lot of it was gold.
I'm having trouble getting past you being naked in the back seat. Sorry.
But he had a lot of gold different things. And I think on the wheel, the driving thing, it had it like in the middle or something.
This guy I told you, the guy had gold teeth. This guy had $500,000 across his grill.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some money in there. Nicest guy in the world, too. Most pleasant. This old black guy. He was just fun to talk to. No problem. No arrogance. Nothing. It was a great experience, and I'm glad I figured out what it was. They just wouldn't let me fix it.
Yeah, that's shitty.
So,
not shitty.
Anyway, how long do you think we've been on? I'll tell you right now, you're going to be wrong.
It's over an hour.
It is, and you're going to be wrong. But how long do you think?
Hour and 17 minutes.
23.
Whew. See, I'm pretty close.
Good. Yeah. All right, so listen, that's it. You got to tell everyone goodbye, and we'll see how this recorded. If it came out good, we'll use it.
All right. Well, this is right before Christmas, so thank you for listening, and Merry Christmas to you and to everybody in your family, and we will see you next week.
Oh, I thought you were going to stay my line. I thought you were going to...
That's your line.
I know, but she went, and we'll see you, and I'm like, she's going to say it. She's going to say, catch you on the flip side.
We'll see you next week.
All right, listen, you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for wasting an hour and 25 minutes of your day. If you had to give up an hour and 25 minutes, what better place to waste it than with Gen X Talks podcast? Thank you for being here, wherever you're listening from around the planet, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps on the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember two things, wherever you go, there you are. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Life is a